Welcome to Victory Lap. I'm Angie Buhrke, and we're back again. Thanks for joining us. You know, it's springtime, and I'm just so excited about spring. I love to see the flowers and the rabbits and everything that everyone enjoys at springtime. But you know, it is Resurrection Sunday. It is Easter weekend, and so I thought I would give a message on the death and resurrection of Jesus. And I think most people, I think they like understand the death of Jesus and they understand what was accomplished to a point. But I think throughout the year, other than Easter Sunday, we kind of forget the power of the resurrection that really changes our lives and helps us to live the abundant life. So we're going to go over that. You know, and I was thinking, how would I minister on an Easter Sunday if I was ministering anywhere in a church? And I thought about it. And, like most churches do, they give a very evangelical message, which is right and proper. And I think they take the advantage also because many people just go to church on Easter and on Christmas. So, they take that opportunity to give that message. And they talk about the death of Jesus and the forgiveness of sins. And that is all true. That is great and wonderful. But I noticed that in church services on Easter, many of them forget exactly what was accomplished through the resurrection. Even though it is Resurrection Sunday, there are so many things. We have been risen to new life. And I want to go over what that new life is, because we definitely should share the salvation message. That's a given. I would do that. But I thought about it. What else? What is included in that salvation message? And there are crucial points that are left out a lot in many churches. It is true that Jesus died to forgive us of sins, and that is preached, and that is taught, and that is absolutely true. But this is not the only reason why Jesus died. Now forgiveness is vital, of course, because if we didn't have forgiveness of sins, we could never go to heaven. Okay, so we need that forgiveness of sins, but there are other reasons why Jesus died and rose again. There's power in that resurrection, because let's face it, a lot of people died on the cross back then. Criminals died on the cross back then. And we know that Jesus wasn't a criminal, but if he would have just died, it would have been just one more person dying. But he actually rose from the dead. And this is what we want to talk about today. When we look at the word salvation in the New Testament, the Greek word is sozo. And that sozo includes way more than just forgiveness of sins. And this is the great news. So it starts with, let's say, deliverance. The first thing that Jesus died for is so that we could be delivered from the enemy and from his tactics and from his tricks and any demonic activity that might be in our life. And you think, well, I don't have any demons in my life. Well, let me just say this. If you ever worry, if you ever fear, if you're ever sick, if you have addictions, if you're lonely, if you're fearful, if you're grieving, whatever that is, that's all attacks of the enemy trying to come against you to put you in some depression. So the devil is active in our lives. We just are not aware of it, and that's where the problem lies. Another reason why Jesus died was that so we could be protected. And I know that Psalm 91 is a great psalm that you might want to read and read over your family every day to receive that protection in your life. I love in Psalm 34:7, it says, the angel of the Lord encamps around those that fear him and delivers them. And that word encamp means to actually set up a tent around you. So, think about it. When you set up a tent, you go camping, you don't leave, right? You don't set it up and take it down and go somewhere else. You stay there. And that's what the angels do. They just encamp around you and they stay there. Another reason why Jesus died is to take our poverty so that we could be prosperous. And yes, prosperous in money. Money is not an evil thing. It's the love of money that is evil, but it's not money itself. It's a fantastic tool to sow into God's kingdom so that you can receive a hundredfold return in your life. And so that allows you to give to other people who are hurting. It's just awesome. And people have a negative feeling toward the prosperity gospel. And I do too, because there's no such thing as prosperity gospel. It's the gospel of the kingdom, and prosperity is included in that. Another reason that Jesus died, and this is what people have most problem with, is the physical healing. And this is an area where many, many people struggle. But that word sozo includes physical healing. I had Al bought me a purse years ago, and this is a great example. I'd like to share it with you. It was one of those Coach purses, and he paid like $230 for my birthday. It was something I had admired for a long time, so he bought it for me, and I was thrilled, and it was all different colors and many compartments, and I just loved it and enjoyed it. And, you know, a few months later, I went to a friend's house, and I saw the same purse sitting on her, and I said, "Is this yours?" And she says, "Yeah, isn't that great?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, look, I have the same thing." She says, "Yeah, I love it." She said, "I paid $29.99 for it." And she kept going about her business. And I stopped her and I said, "What? $29.99? How could you do that? Al paid $230 for this purse." And this is what she said to me. She says, "It's an imitation. It's an imitation." Now, both our purses were the same exact colors. They were multicolored, pink on the front, green on the back, yellow inside. It had the same amount of compartments. It looked the same. It worked the same, but hers was an imitation and mine was real. And you know, Jesus taught me something through that. He took the real thing. He took all of the symptoms on the cross of any sickness and disease 2,000 years ago. So if he took the real thing, then what you or I might be experiencing as far as symptoms is not real. It can't be. It cannot be in two places at the same time. Take a strep throat, just for instance, okay? God can't have that strep throat and you have it at the same time because he took it. When somebody takes something away from you, you don't have it anymore. So this is just something that you have to get into your thinking and have a revelation on, that Jesus took the real symptoms, and your symptoms look exactly like what he took, just like the Coach bag. It looked the same. It had the same symptoms, the same fevers, the same sore throat, whatever it might be. It acted the same. But your symptoms are fake. Now, I'm not diminishing your symptoms, but when you get a hold of the fact that Jesus took that sickness onto his body 2,000 years ago, you will no longer accept the sickness. You will now reject it and say, "Hey, wait a minute. You're not supposed to be here." You see, Christians believe, many Christians, if not most Christians, believe that they can be healed. The problem is they don't believe they have already been healed. And that's what the gospel of Jesus Christ is all about. It already happened. The gospel is past tense. Jesus took all of our symptoms onto his body 2,000 years ago, so we do not have to experience any of them. And yes, Al and I, we get our physical symptoms here and there and everywhere, but basically we're in our 60s, mid-60s. Al's going to be 70, and we have nothing wrong with us. We are on no medication, and whatever does try to attack us, we just push it back because we know Jesus already has the real thing. So we need to come to God not as the sick trying to get well. We need to come to the Lord as the well, fighting off sickness. It is like an intruder into your life, and it doesn't need to be there. So this is all part of the resurrection power that God has given us. Symptoms have no right to stay in your body. If they come on, you just keep using your authority and fighting off those symptoms out of your body in the name of Jesus, because they have no right to stay there. He carried everything on the cross. He did what he was supposed to do, and now he rose again. And this is more than just forgiveness. He rose again so that we could live a new life seated at his right hand. We are raised with him too. So when things come against you, take that authority against them and choose to exalt the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ above anything that's going on in your life. And I'm sure now you can understand why they call the gospel the good news. It is fantastic, great news. And we should never have a depressed day in our life. It's good news to be forgiven. It's good news to be healed. It's good news to be delivered. It's great news to be protected. It's great news to be prosperous. Jesus laid that. He did it all. He purchased our healing. He purchased our prosperity 2,000 years ago. And when he died, he didn't stay there. He conquered death by rising from the dead. So just remember this Easter season, what actually did take place on the cross and the resurrection. That should bring you much joy and motivate you to the next level in your walk with Jesus. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope everyone, if this comes out before Resurrection Sunday, that you have a wonderful Easter Sunday. If it's after, that you had one, and stay in the presence of the Lord and enjoy the resurrection power He died to give you. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time. And if you want any more information about our ministry, you can go to victorylifeministries.org, and you'll find a ton of resources and a lot more teaching. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.